One thing I would tell you this morning is that I'm always very happy and comfortable that we have deacons when the proclamation of the gospel is the genealogy and all those names. Thank you. But today, as we draw closer to the feast of Christmas, we hear the gospel tracing Jesus' identity from Abraham to David to Joseph, covering 3 lists of 14 names each. The list is based on the assumption that the Father is the source of identity. Women are not prominent in this ancient genealogy. 5 women are mentioned until we come to Mary of Nazareth. What are we to make of this genealogy as a historical record of God's promise? The answer is that the scriptures assert that God was already immersed in the fullness of human history from generation after generation before the birth of Jesus. You see, the incarnation is not God suddenly entering into our sinful world to save us, but God emerges from our history, bearing the full burden of our own weaknesses, confusion, violence, and sinfulness. You see, that God is Emmanuel, God with us. God has always been with his creation, with us. The divine identity was and is part of our own DNA from the very beginning, and a divine destiny awaits us at the end. Holiness is meant to be our nature. This is the good news of the season of Advent, preparing us to welcome Jesus in his birth. This is the best of times. This is the worst of times. We are subject to all of its joys and pleasures, pain as well as suffering. And Jesus Christ is present to reveal us to ourselves. So as we hear the gospel of the genealogy, give thanks that we too are part of the Jesus genealogy, that we belong in that genealogy. Praise God, the Father, who has brought us to be his own members of God's family. Rejoice and be glad that Jesus is among us, showing us the way to the Father.